So here's the story. The other day I was on the internet and I found this blog post that talked about why journaling was a super effective tactic, especially through quarantine, especially through 2020. Everybody talks about how journaling is the most important thing in everybody's life. All right, we get it. This is my gal Marie Curie. This is Leo da Vinci. And this is Albert Einstein. So this is the story of how I journaled every day for 30 days.
As we can clearly see, these are some of the most brilliant people in history, and the one thing that connects them is that each of them journaled.
So my main question is why?
You see, when you ask why something happens, how does a person answer why something happens? And when you explain a why, you have to be in some framework that you allow something to be true. Otherwise, you're perpetually asking why.
So to establish a framework, here are some things that we want to let be true in our reality.
I always look to this book when I need inspiration, and it's taught me so many things. Some of the most important things are that it's incredibly important to be open to new ideas. These new ideas can help us grow and change the way we see the world. Reflecting on the good thoughts help us remember our life better. And if you could remember one thing about your life, would you really pick something negative? Being honest with ourselves is a huge act of self-compassion, because if we're not honest with ourselves, we're not going to move forward. Why focus on the negative when so much good happens every single day? The future is ours, and it's so much fun to create the dreams that we see in our heads. And most importantly, keep learning.
So over the course of my 30 plus days of journaling daily, this is the layout that I found worked the best for me. I thought it'd be kind of boring to take you through every day of journaling, so I've kind of made a summary of the things I've learned and how this has helped me overall. So every day I write down a progress update. Currently it's about the MCAT and how I feel I'm progressing overall. It's really important for me to do this, and I think it could help a lot of people because it can tell you how you can improve. We don't want to be focusing on all the bad things we're doing, but we want to be focusing on how we can make the bad things the good things. It kind of makes sense how the most brilliant minds in history resorted to journaling to keep track of their ideas, to make connections, to document their observations, and try to see how everything is connected in order to create something that's bigger than them. I think it's a really powerful tool to be able to communicate effectively, and the way that I'm trying to improve in that is by writing a highlight every day. I try to summarize a moment in my day to focus on what it was that made me happy that day, and I've noticed for me a lot of the time this highlight tends to be about being in nature and enjoying the outdoors a little bit more, especially during this whole time where we're indoors a lot more. I also make an effort to actively track my sleep, how I feel when I wake up, and what are some things that hindered my sleep, because it's one of the most important things we do. And I want to make sure that I'm getting the amount of sleep I need every night. Over the course of time, I've noticed some patterns that usually lead to me having unrestful sleep, and getting rid of those patterns has been really helpful because I feel more rested and more balanced as a person overall. And of course, feel free to take any of these things and make them your own. You don't have to do it the way I do it, and it's probably better if you don't. Doing it the way that works best for you is going to be what's most helpful for you in the long term, so I really want to stress that point here. I think a lot of the times people get the idea that journaling every day has to be like this super strict task, and that we have to spend, quite a bit of time doing some introspection, and I just don't think that's really the case. I think a lot of times we can, make things more complicated than they are, and I think just using the journal as a tool and writing things along the side and trying to keep some sort of general structure, making it your own most of all, is really what's going to make this a very helpful habit. Besides the goal of being happy, a very important thing I wanted to do was to structure systems around the goals that I'm working towards, and this has been a very valuable tool to help me do that, because I don't know what's different from just thinking about it in your head versus writing it down, but for me, I guess it's something to do with working memory and overall capacity, I guess, but it's just so much easier to visualize, future ideas and just things that I want to see happen when they're written down. I like this one. This quote sums it up perfectly. Journaling is like whispering to oneself and listening at the same time. Alright, so enough about me. Now you've heard my journaling experience. So Now it's your turn.
It gets interesting after all. That's my idea, that the deeper a thing is, the more interesting it is.